Now after that, how many people just understood a word I said? Just raise your hand if you understand me. 2 of you. 3 of you. It's only a few people said, will there be a live commentary? Well, there aren't any professional guides on here, but if you understand me, I'll try and point a few places out. Do you want me to point a few bits out? Yeah? Okay, as I say, I'm not a professional guide, so if I do make any mistakes, please bear with me. Now on the right we have the London Eye. Now if you wanted to go on the London Eye when that first opened up in the year 2000, you would have queued up over there for 4 hours and you would have paid £7.50. Well, you'll be pleased to know there are no queues today. But you won't be pleased to know why. And the reason being, it's now over £30. But since the London Eye opened in 2000, it's carried over 65 million customers. To your left hand side we have a tall stone column with a golden eagle on the top. Now this is a war memorial to all the men and women who lost their lives during the First and Second World War in the Air Force. The beak of the eagle points due south to where many of the men and women lost their lives. The back side of the eagle points directly to the Ministry of Defence. Now also to the left we have a dark grey ship called the Wellington. The floating livery hall, the dark grey ship is the Tadshire Castle, formerly a ferry boat on the River Humber. It originally came to the Thames as a floating art gallery. It was an art gallery for just 1 year before it went bankrupt. It was then taken over by the company Bash Charrington and turned into what she is today, a floating bar and nightclub. But also to the left, behind the trees, we have Waterguard House. We have the Whitehall Court Mansion. Now this was once the home of the National Liberal Club. It's also been home to Lloyd George, one of our past Prime Ministers. Today the building comprises of bars, restaurants and the Horse Guards Hotel. Now in front of us we have the busiest railway line on the River Thames, the Charing Cross Railway Bridge. It also incorporates the 2 pedestrian footbridges. The one the upper side is the Golden Jubilee Walkway. The one the lower side, the new Hungerford footbridge. But all the land over here to the right, this is the South Bank. The South Bank today is one of the busiest parts of London. It never used to be though. Before the London Eye was there, it was horrible. But if you're in London for a few days, it's a lovely place to have a wander along. You can start there by the London Eye, walk all the way down to Tower Bridge, or start at Tower Bridge and walk to the London Eye. Along the way there's lots of pop-up food stalls. Every weekend there's a food festival behind the county hall, behind the festival hall. There's also nice little pubs and restaurants. But if you're in London for a few days, I recommend do it at night time, when all the buildings, all the bridges are lit up. That's the best time. Now as we pass down through the bridge, if we look along there to the left, there is a tall stone column, the Cleopatra's Needle. Now this was presented to Britain by the Egyptian government after Lord Nelson's victory over the French at the banks of the River Nile. The needle itself is over 3,500 years old, presented to Britain in 1877. But also to the left, behind the needle, the building with a clock face in the middle, Shell Mex House, once the offices of Shell Petroleum. It still belongs to Shell today. In fact, they rent it out as office space. We was told the end of last year Shell moving back to London. Whether they've been moving back there, I don't actually know. But also to the left, the building with a tiled roof and flying the Union flag, the rear entrance to the world famous Savoy Hotel. Savoy is one of the most famous hotels in the world, also one of the most expensive. I don't know if anyone saw the programme last year on ITV called Inside the Savoy, but the penthouse apartments over there, £16,500 a night. Now this is the Waterloo Bridge, completed during the Second World War by the Land Army, more affectionately known here on the Thames as the Ladies' Bridge. This is because the Land Army at that time was made up by 80% female labour. All our men were away fighting in the armed forces. It is also, though, the only bridge to ever be completed on time and on budget. To your right hand side, the building with the illuminated sign is the National Theatre, being voted by 7 of London's top architects as being the ugliest looking building in London. Now King Charles, back when he was Prince Charles, he once said the building looks more like the back end to a nuclear power station. And I think that most people would agree with him. Now along there to the left, the large white ship with the yellow funnel, the Wellington, the floating livery hall, capital cities at just 1 square mile, the City of London. Now as we head through the City of London, very little advertising on the banks of the River Thames. This is because we have very strict advertising laws. The Thames is a royal highway. But if you look to your right, you'll see how an architect very cleverly got around these laws back in 1931 when he incorporated the product's name into the building. Look at the red brick building, look at the tower up on the top, the windows, Oxo. I'm sure you've all heard of Oxo, the people who make the famous gravy stock here. The building no longer belongs to the Oxo company, but it is a Grade 2 listed building, therefore can never ever legally be removed. Comprises of many things. The bottom's a few shops, the middle is luxury apartments, the top is the famous Oxo Tower restaurant. To the left hand side, the building with the sloped roof, the spire in the middle, the old City of London School for Boys. Many famous people educated over there. Lord Asquith, Lloyd George, two of our former Prime Ministers. The building now belongs to J.P. Morgan, the American bank. And we are now approaching a group of bridges. The first one being the Blackfriars Road Bridge. Look to the battlements, look to the pillars of the bridge. You will see something what look like church pulpits. These were put here at the express wish of Queen Victoria to commemorate the old Blackfriars Monastery, which once stood to your left hand side. The marble on the columns actually comes from the original monastery. Now the second bridge is the Blackfriars Railway Bridge. But as we pass through, in the middle, you'll see all the remains from the first ever railway bridge to span the River Thames. The old St. Paul's Railway Bridge carried the first steam trains across the river for the Chatham-Dover railway system. The top half of the bridge was removed many years ago. It couldn't take the weight of the modern day trains. You can never remove these old pillars though. If you pull these out, you would undermine the foundations of the modern day bridge. It would become unsafe. That's why the 8 red pillars remain. Now to your right, the building with the tall chimney, the old Bankside Power Station. Today, the Tate Modern Arts Gallery. If you want to see things like a pile of old bricks or half a cow in a jar, that is the place to go. If you want to see a real work of art, then look to the left hand side. Dominating the skyline, the dome and golden cross on Sir Christopher Wren's masterpiece, St. Paul's Cathedral. It took Wren 35 years to complete. It stands 365 feet tall, and it is the second largest unsupported cathedral dome in Europe, second to that of St. Peter's, the Vatican City of Rome. The red brick building in front of St. Paul's, the new City of London School. A young man called Daniel Radcliffe went to school there before he became Harry Potter. Now we're just about to pass beneath Norman Foster's Millennium Footbridge. Coming up on the right, the white circular building with the thatched roof is the replica of William Shakespeare's Globe Theatre. Built to the dream of an American film director, Sam Wanamaker. It's the first building in London to be built entirely out of wood since the Great Fire of London of 1666. Go there today and see an old Shakespearean play being reenacted. So it would have been done in Shakespeare's time. In front of us we have the Southwark Bridge. It opened in 1921. But look up above the bridges, shops, bars, restaurants, hotels, and the top is a viewing gallery. Before we go through Southwark Bridge, look to your right hand corner. Look at the foot of the bridge. There's a flight of stairs coming in the river. The Southwark Causeway, also known as Wren's Stairs. It was on them stairs Sir Christopher Wren used to board a small rowing boat every morning before being rowed across the river to supervise the building. Many people say, why didn't Wren just live on the other side? It had recently been destroyed during the Great Fire of London. In front of us we have the Cannon Street Railway Bridge. Not really any historical interest this bridge whatsoever. Before we go through it, to the right, a very old and historical pub, the Anchor Bank Side. 2015 it celebrated its 400th birthday. Over the years has been frequented by many famous people, including William Shakespeare. The original Globe Theatre stood somewhere behind the pub in a place called Park Street. It is one of the nicer riverside pubs. It does get ever so busy. Now in front of us we have the New London Bridge. This one was opened by Queen Elizabeth II in 1973. The first ever London Bridge dates back to the Roman times of AD 43. The London Bridge before this became unsafe, taken down stone by stone, sold to an American oil company. Now spans Lake Havasu in the Arizona desert, USA. Do we have any Americans on board? Yes. This may be of particular interest to you. If you look to the right, between the gap of the next two buildings, you'll see the lovely Southwark Cathedral. Now it was in Southwark Cathedral where a man called John Harvey was baptised, son of a local tradesman. He left England, he went to America, where he founded the Harvard Library, which in turn became a part of the Harvard University in Massachusetts, USA. So parts of the building date back to the 12th century. Now as we pass down through the London Bridge, if you look to your left hand side, between the gap of the two buildings, we have a tall stone column with a golden top. Sir Christopher Wren's monument to the Great Fire of London of 1666. Built to represent a candle. They say it was a candle which started the fire in a baker's shop in Pudding Lane. That on its end in easterly direction touched the point where the baker's shop once stood. But also to the left we have a lovely yellow brick building, the old Billingsgate Fish Market. A fish market stood on that site for nearly 900 years, until the late 80s when the tradition was sadly broken. Moved downstream to larger premises in the Docklands area. The building today is a private function hall. In front of us, to the right, is London's very own warship, the HMS Belfast. She was the largest of the light cruisers ever built for the British Royal Navy. Weighs 11,500 tonnes. She saw active service during World War II and last fired her guns in anger at the Korean campaign. Decommissioned from the Navy in the 70s, brought here by the Imperial War Museum, now permanently moored up 7 days a week as a museum shipping to the public. In front of us we have the Tower Bridge. It opened in 1894, a twin suspension bascule bridge. When I say a bascule bridge, I mean the lowest section of the centre arch can raise in 2 masts like giant riggers to allow larger shipping in and out the upper port of London. Tower Bridge was built in the Gothic style to blend in with its surroundings. To your left, above Tower Pier, we have the famous Tower of London. Our work first commenced on the tower under the orders of William the Conqueror in 1078. It used as many things in its time: a royal palace, a zoo, mint and observatory. Most famously though, a prison and a place of execution. It's over there today where the king would crown jewels, guarded by the king's beefeaters. Well folks, very shortly we'll pass down the Tower Bridge. We'll then call at our next stop Tower Bridge St Catherine's. Now, information regarding tickets for returning boats. Anyone on board with a Tower Bridge ticket, single or return, you must leave the boat at this point. Your next returning boat will leave here at 20 past 3. Sorry, your next returning boat will leave here at 10 past 3, and then returning boats every 40 minutes throughout the day. Last boat tonight will leave here at 10 past 4. If you're going to Greenwich, if you have the Greenwich ticket or the river pass, then just stay on board this boat. Well folks, also as we pass through Tower Bridge, we leave the City of London behind us. We now enter which used to be the more commercial side of the River Thames. This is the Docklands area. Now, so this part of the journey, folks, where the points and place of interest come a little bit far and few between. So this is where we'll finish up with the guided part of the tour. If you're staying on to Greenwich, I will point out a few places when we get a little closer to Greenwich. But just as we finish up, just one last thing, and that's about the commentary itself. Now, as I said before I started, and I'm sure you've realised by now, we're not professional guides on these boats. But unfortunately, they don't employ professional guides. When you buy your ticket, you get a small leaflet. In the leaflet is a map, and that is your guide. Now, us the crew feel it's a bit of a waste of time for you to come on the river and not have anyone tell you what you're looking at. So we try and have these little talks with you. Now, we don't get paid as tour guides, and obviously we don't make a charge for this. There's a lot of people on here who haven't understood a word I've said. So all we do on here, we leave it up to you, the individual. If you have listened to the commentary, enjoyed it, and would like to show any appreciation for our efforts as guides, you can do so in a few moments, when I very shortly come and pass among you in the old traditional manner with the old champagne bucket. This is for any appreciation you might like to show. So if you want to throw a couple of bob in the bucket, it's entirely up to you. For those who don't know what a couple of bob is, it's an old English saying for a £10 note. Only joking, of course. If you have any questions, I'll pass amongst you. Please fire away, we'll do my best to answer them. But all that's left for me to do is thank all of you for your very kind attention. For that, I thank you all very much indeed. Thank you.
What's that one?
Anything else? It's okay?
No, it's okay.
Thank you very much.
Maybe next time. No worries.
If you say I'm going to do it in 6 months' time, guess what?
Is Ben not? Oh, really? I see. Well, thanks for letting me know. That's all good. Ian downstairs? Yeah, Ian downstairs.
Wycombe. You say, Americans say Wycombe, you say Wycombe. Oh, you say. It's all pronunciation, different advice.